Okay, so in this video, I am going to give you a step-by-step of how to complete an ANOVA. I'm not going to do each one. I'm just going to show you how to do it with 1DV. Essentially, like I said, you need to do 4. You're going to do 1 for each age, QOL, motor function, and ADL. And remember, we're comparing the 3 groups. So this may look a little different if you have a PC, but it's the same thing. So first and foremost, you have to have uh, the data analysis, which is at the moment, there we go. Okay, so forgive me because my Excel here on my Mac is having a few difficulties, but I'm going to walk you through the best as I can with the error messages that'll pop up. So the error message that will pop up is not normal, just FYI. You won't see that when you complete yours unless you're having the same issue, but essentially you should be fine. Now in order to complete this, you need a data analysis tool pack. So if you have a Mac, you're going to go to Tools, Add-ins. This is the error message that keeps popping up, and you're going to select Analysis Tool Pack, okay? Now if you have a PC, it's a little different. If you have a PC, you're going to click on File, which is generally right here, where next to Home. And under File, it's the same thing as what it says here in Tools. In File, you'll go to Options. And once you click in Options, you're going to see Add-ins at the second to the bottom. And once you click on Add-ins, you'll see Analysis Tool Pack. So the same way here you see in Tools and Add-ons, PC will have it in File. You'll click Options and then Add-ons, and it will be the same way, where it will provide you with Analysis Tool Pack. Once you press OK or Go in your PC, it will install it. So then you'll see this pop up, and that's what you're going to use to complete your single factor ANOVA. Now let's use one group. I'm just going to show you with one group. So I'm going to select the first age because it's simple. So I'm going to copy the data. Again, that message does not pop up when you do it. And I'm essentially going to paste it here. Now, there's different ways you can do this. You can calculate it by rows. That's fine too, but I really prefer to have it in columns. So I'm going to put the information next to each other. I don't know why that's popping up. Okay, so here all I am doing is copying and pasting the 3 groups next to each other so that I have columns. Then I'm going to go to data analysis. And I'm going to select ANOVA single factor and press OK. Now you're going to see a few things here. Input range is the information that you're selecting to complete the single factor ANOVA. Labels in front row is essentially just allows it to be labeled. At the bottom you'll see output range, new worksheet, or new workbook. This gives you an option of where do you want to paste the data, or where do you want the ANOVA to pop up. If you click output range, then it will allow you to select an area such as this, and that's where it will paste your ANOVA. If you choose new worksheet, essentially what it's going to do is down here you see sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. On a PC, it'll create a new sheet that says output, but on a Mac, it'll just create a new sheet that says sheet 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever number sheet that it labels it. Alpha value. This is your level of significance. This is what you are choosing for your p-value to be. 0.05 is usually the general arbitrary number that we would choose, as I've talked about before. And then you would press OK. Now again, mine is having some issues. So essentially what it is going to do is create a chart. So after you go ahead and select your data, like I said, and then again, using the data analysis, completing your one-way ANOVA and running it with all of this data. So it'll be all of this data. You're going to select it. Again, I chose columns. You can also do it by rows had I left the information the way it was. You're going to press OK, and mine is not going to complete it because technical difficulties, but essentially what it's going to do is it's going to try and create it, and it's going to give you a chart. Now this is not the correct count, okay? The count, this, again, mine is having trouble, but this is what the chart would look like. But here is the actual information of what that first chart would look like for using age, okay? So let's take a look at this for a second. So this is the one for age, and these are the true values. You have your three means, the three groups, which was 10, 9, and 11, and I can go back and show you. You have 10, 9, and 11 here, okay? So now let's talk a little bit about what you have in this. You have your mean values. So these are your mean values for each group, and that's the number of participants in each. So if we go back and look at sheet number 1, here's your participants in each group. 10 in the first group, 9 in the second, and 11 in the third, just like we showed here. You have your standard deviation for each group, and then it's totaling it here. Okay? Now in this ANOVA table, which is what we are looking at, you have your sum of squares. You have a DF, which is the degrees of freedom. You have MS, which is your mean sum of squares due to source. And then you have this F, which is your lovely F statistic that I talked about, and your p-value. Now again, if you're wondering what these are a little more in detail, I would go back and look at the week 5 recap video. But essentially these are all of the data inputs that are created when you're completing an ANOVA. Okay? You also are going to see treatment and error in total. Here, error means the variability within the group, so like the unexplained random error. Okay? And your total is the total variation in the data from your grand mean. Just making sure if there's anything else that I want to talk about in here. That's pretty much it. Now, essentially what you're going to use for the assignment is your F value and your P value. If we go back to the sheet 1, and I've deleted the answers for the other questions just for the sake of showing you again how to do one. In your second question, I asked for the F value and your P value, and then I asked as number C, or letter C, what are the group statistically different? So in this case, you get that information from your output here. The F statistic is going to be 302, and then the P value is 0.656. So in here, you would write F statistic is 3.02, and the P value is 0.656. Then I ask, again, are the groups statistically different? So in this case, I'm saying the groups are not statistically different when looking at the output. And here's also a comparison of your groups as a chart. And you're going to do this for each one. So now you're going to do the same for QOL, ADLs, and actually, I'm sorry, motor function, or just those three is what I asked for. So you're going to record the F statistic, the p-value, and then state whether or not they are not statistically different, or they are statistically different. So let's just recap. Essentially what I did, I take the information for age, I highlighted it, I copied it. You're not going to see that message pop up. I took it in sheet 2, I pasted, and then I put it in columns. And from here, I went to data analysis, completed an ANOVA single factor, press OK, selected the input of the information that I wanted. There's your input range. Press OK, and once you're done, depending on where you put it, a new worksheet, on the same sheet, in a new workbook, it will create an output that looks like this, providing the means, the number, standard deviation for each group, and then all of the ANOVA information that you will find. And then what you're going to use to answer the questions are the F value, or I'm sorry, F statistic, and the P value. And you're going to do that for each one that I've asked here in question 2. Now in question 3, what are the differences? I want you to state the differences from the information that you put here in question 2. And then in question 4, you're simply going to write a scientific summary of the results. Do your best with this. Okay? That is how you do it. And remember, you have to do 4. Okay? Any questions? Email me as always.